zip oiling. Coffee. Smells good. What I'm doing is I've been mixing 1 pack of regular with 2 packs of the flavored instant oat. Plus sugar. It's oatmeal or no meal out here. It is day 7 and I decided to change my clothes. That was my modeling strut. I learned it from the Budnick brothers. Anyways, that's not my seat. That would have been really shitty. I just camped at this big mountain runoff gulch. Really beautiful. Even though I got to camp late, got to bed around 10:30, which isn't bad. Out of the tent at 7, so got a solid 8 hours sleep. Okay, 7.5 hours sleep. And I'm sort of just plotting what my best route would be to climb Mount Netro. I think I'm gonna veer off this gulch and head up another runoff valley that's not too treed. The other way I could go is up this gulch right to the peak, but it's really, really steep. So I think I'm gonna do this, get up onto the ridge line, walk along the ridge line a bit. As you can see, there's a lot of forest fire smoke that blew in. You know, I was thinking from up there, I could probably see over to the Blackstone River, which is the next river in this watershed to my west, but it's looking like that's probably not gonna be possible. It's gonna be a 6 to 8 hour round trip to climb up there, which means I will be camping here again. So I'm gonna leave my tent set up, all my stuff ready. That way I'll have shelter even if anything goes wrong and I get back late. Bacon. On a day like today, it makes me think, man, I could totally live out here, but when it's pitch black and -40, I might second guess that in the winter time. It looks like some of that smoke is clearing up, so before too long, hopefully we'll be up that mountain. Just to experience some of the Hart River country off of the river, to get up and really get a view, really kind of lets the lay of the land sink into you. I mean, sure, we can look at maps and all that, and that really works, but to actually see with your own eye what the area looks like, it helps that sort of sink into you and teaches you essentially how to navigate better, how to read a map better, but also doing this challenging work. There's something to be said for doing hard work in nature. It really is good for your soul. It releases endorphins, and then at the same time you're surrounded with this incredible landscape, and those things together are the reason why our ancestors were never depressed. I'm going to do a little pre-blister prep. When it comes to blisters, probably the best thing you can do is prevention beforehand. So I'm just slapping some duct tape right on the old tootsies, around the back of the heel, along the base of the foot, like that. Doing some prepping. I'm gonna need my first aid kit, my survival kit, hat, sunglasses, lunch, and water. I'll bring some water tabs too. And then of course I'm gonna take my GPS with maps in it, my inReach messaging device. I'm gonna pack that up quick and hit the trail. And there is no trail. This is just me following creek valleys and mountain passes and ridges. So it's gonna be awesome. Can't wait. Compass. I also have a bear banger, bear spray here on my belt in the event that I should have to spend the night out there. Between the rain gear, the sweater, and the Mylar blanket in my survival kit, I probably have enough that I could survive the night if I got lost or injured out there and couldn't travel home tonight. And of course stuff to make a fire and all that too. And I'm off. Setting off at a decent pace. A lot of the smoke's cleared up. However, it's gotten a lot hotter, so maybe I should have left early. But the steep part is what's going to take a lot of energy. The air gets thinner the higher you get as well. So got my work cut out for me. That is where I'm going. We got some blueberries, ladies and germs. That's a nice sound. It appears that the creek is exposed here, running above the rocks. On a hot day like this, I think I'm going to take the opportunity, even though I'm not far into the trek, I'm going to climb down there, drink one of my water bottles, and refill out of that creek. I probably won't even tab it. I brought water tabs in case water's questionable, but I don't think this water's questionable. There's no beaver dams or anything like that, so it's just essentially snow runoff. Oh man, that's so good. So cold. Looks like someone put a marker there. I've made my way up this stream and it looks like maybe that's the way to go. That's steeper than I'd anticipated, but doable. This rock doesn't even look like a marker. It just looks like it's naturally like that. I think I'm gonna go for it. Up here, up there, to there, up, and then across. Looks like I really have my work cut out for me here, but I think I can do it. I think I'm gonna go for it. Once I get up there, it'll be pretty easy going, and then down. It'll be tough on the knees and that, but it's not as physically arduous on the cardio side. You can see though, I've come up quite a ways. I've come out here and gone around the bend, well above the river now. Definitely a little hazy from the fire smoke. Different route than I had plotted. I'm cutting up a lot sooner as opposed to walking up the valley more, which means I'll have more of a vertical climb but shorter of a distance to walk along the ridge when I get up there. So it's not easy going. The scree rock stuff is very challenging to walk in. Delicious. Now that's some high quality H2O. What movie's that from? Highly unlikely I'll be needing this. Maybe this. And a defibrillator. Knock on wood. Brought some pemmican. I like to eat it just like this. But I also like to add it to a stew, which I might make one of these nights. I brought stuff to make one. Okay. Grab a little morsel here. This pemmican's super runny because it's so warm out, but yeah, if you use the liver fat of a moose or whatever, the pemmican will stick together better. This is just made with lard. When you're getting this kind of exercise, I'm not too worried about it. It's also a whole food, but you are eating straight fat. That one is 1-to-1 fat to meat. My favorite is equal parts meat, berries, and fat. I can already feel that energy from the pemmican just hitting me. Man, that sun is hot. Maybe we'll eat one more thing of pemmican. Well, I'm doing it. Definitely a false summit there though. Once I crest that, it's gonna keep going up. Looks like a little more smoke is blowing in, but view still should be epic from up there. Starting to catch up to me right about now. I can feel that the air has gotten thinner, but it's also cooled down a bit, which is nice. Now I have the hard part right in front of me. All of this away. Here is a straight up piece of lava rock. A long, long time ago, there was a volcano sitting in the middle of the bright, deep blue sea, and from his lava cave, the sound of laughter that he made. Very close to here, there was a shallow sea. That sea gave way over many billions of years to the Mackenzie Mountains. You can find fossils at the tops of the Mackenzie Mountains, fossils of sea creatures, which is wild. And to think that at one time, obviously, there's a volcano spewing out around here. I'm not going to be going up this Runoff gulch anymore. I'm going to veer off and climb up a steeper part, hopefully get to a less steeper part that'll bring me up to the main ridge of Mount Netro. It's tough going, but I'm doing it, you know? I'm doing it. All right, this is gonna be a scramble on all fours. You know, you gotta be careful, because if I fall and I pick up speed, it could be SOL pretty quick. This is way too steep. I think it might be dangerous, so I should fall and pick up any speed. I'm gonna keep going for it though. There's some trees up here. If I can get to the trees, I should be okay. I might actually just cut right across right there and get on some solid ground. This is crazy. Stepping in this stuff just slides right out from under you. Yikes. That's better. I made it out of that sketchy scree into some solid ground, but it's still going to be like a scramble on all fours type situation here. This is going to be by far the hardest part here. Slow and steady wins the race here. I could barely even put down my backpack for fear that it's going to roll all the way back down to the Hart River. It looks like a bunch of smoke's blowing in, kind of killing the view, but still really cool. Well, I just stumbled across something that here way up here on the ridge that looked kind of like an old cache. It could just be the way this rock scree fell on top of each other. So I pulled a couple rocks out. It felt like what seemed like a breeze coming from in the hole. So I dug down a bit and just found a bunch of interesting rocks, but maybe it's just the cool air. But it'd be cool if there's a cave or something hidden under here. I mean, it makes me wonder. I don't think this is a place people would come search for gold. Typically they'd stick to the creek beds and stuff like that. Definitely not the first to have climbed this mountain. I'm almost up this patch of green here, then I'm back onto the big chunks of rock scramble. Not looking forward to it, but I'm getting there. This is part of the trek where it starts to feel a little daunting. I just gotta tell myself, hey, first of all, it never gets dark here. Got all day, pace myself, Just keep putting one foot in front of the other and I'll get there. And don't get discouraged. It's nice once in a while to look back. There's my tent. And see where you've come from when you start to get discouraged. Oh, I got so much further to make it. Well, look back and hey, I've already made it a good distance. Drank my 1 liter of water though. I have one more left. I found what looks like a Dall sheep trail or a mountain goat trail. And what I'm gonna do is I'm thinking I'm just gonna follow it to what looks like a peak, or I don't know if it's technically the summit, but I'm gonna follow along to that peak where I think I'm gonna get an awesome view. Pretty cool to be all the way up here and see pretty distinct game trail. I like it. Some poop up here. It's more like rabbit poop though. High up for a rabbit. I think trusting the mountain sheep trail is the way to go because it just brought me to this ridge so much easier than if I'd just gone straight up there and down. This wonderful cool breeze was just completely blocked by the mountain on my way up, and I literally started thinking I was going to get heat stroke. Didn't have enough water. It was so steep, it was pretty dangerous to be honest with you at times. And now I'm just sitting in a little saddle on this epic ridge line. Next ridge line I can see the Blackstone River, which is another river, the Peel watershed. And here on this mountain face I can see crazy, they must be mountain goat trails just working their way along against some really steep topography. Pretty spectacular despite the forest fire smoke. Oh, and I can't tell you how nice this breeze is, man. I needed that. I'm gonna continue walking along this till I can find a way to get back down. I just spotted 2 mountain goats here on what seems like a near vertical cliff almost. Well, I came down the saddle and I see some treetops just popping up there. Which is probably about as high as you're going to see any trees get, because this is all alpine tundra here. And I think this indicates probably a good route to go back. My camp is way over there, so if I go straight down and then kind of bushwhack through there about a click and a half or so, I'll be back at camp. I don't really want to go down something that's as steep as what I came up. Man, I'm gonna miss this nice breeze and this awesome ridge line. This is so cool up here. I might just take one moment to just sit and take it in. I'm glad that I decided to make this trek. Yeah, easy going once you're up here. Tough to get here, but nice when you're up here. Pretty cool. Well, I have begun my descent. As soon as I crest over onto the Hart River side of the ridge, the wind stops, but luckily it's not as hot as it was. But really the Hart River and the Blackstone River are pretty close here. It's just that they're really far because you literally have to climb this mountain and then down into a valley and then up another mountain to get from one to the other. So it wouldn't be a good place to try to portage from one to the other, that's for sure. Hopefully this turns out to be good. I've had issues coming down off mountains before where you think you know the way down and you start going down and then you hit a cliff. You walk along the cliff and then you run out of land. You have to go way back up, walk along again, think you have a passage down again, find out you don't. Literally get stuck on the mountain for hours as it's getting dark. It can be kind of stressful. But I think just looking at my map that this is going to work. Also just the fact that there's trees here. I'm not walking that scree. It would be great if I could avoid that scree for sure, but yeah, not as tiring, but still more people get injured going down than up. In fact, in hardcore mountain climbing, more people die, knock on wood, going down than do coming up. Because if you fall forward, well, things are interesting. Well, so far so good. This was actually the route that I was considering coming up and back down, or go walk along the ridge and come down. Yeah, it might actually have been a good route up because the way I took up sucked. But no scree, not yet anyways. This could be a patch of forest and then we'll see. Still way up. I'll make it slow and steady, but looks like there's a super steep stretch to come, and if it gets too steep I might have to bushwhack along the side of the hill for a bit to get somewhere where it's a little better. I don't know. I'll feel better once I'm down further. My biggest concern right now is the lack of water that I have. There's going to be no water on this route down at all, and I'm already super thirsty. Should be okay, but it just might be like completely parched by the end of it. It's coming down part here and I can see footprints in the grass where the grass is folded over. Looks like a good chance it could be a bear, so just gonna make some noise. Hey bear! Hey bear! Beat it! Just in case. Huh, bush is getting pretty dense. One of the issues with not having enough water is it causes horrible cramps. The underside of your thighs and your calves. Any chance you're cramping out there, people think it's from overexhaustion, but 90% of the time it's from dehydration. Looks like I haven't chosen the best route here after all as well. I probably should have taken another valley coming off the mountain this way, because it looks like here I'm going to have to go down and then way back up again, and then I'll be about 1.5 kilometers on flat land from camp even at that point. So but I haven't been dealing with like a ton of scree, and maybe there'll be a creek down there, but I don't know how the hell this happened. Looked like the best way to go, but I guess important thing is I get down off the mountain and I'll get back to camp eventually before I die of the dehydration. Just looking at that water is making me thirsty. These blueberries are definitely helping to hydrate me. The forest isn't too bad, like it's pretty open, so the walking's easy. I'm not on a super downward slope right now, but I still will have to descend quite a bit more. I'm on a bit of a plateau. I ended up where I saw that part where I thought I was gonna have to go up a hill, I just cut the other direction. You can see now the river, my campsite's right about there, so I'm getting there. It's looking like the leisurely flat part is coming to an end. And there is the Hart River. Well, I think it's safe to say I made it, and I'm definitely not going to die of dehydration. My campsite is just over that way, probably 100, 200 meters away. So I'm more or less going to follow the river back to the site, but should be there in 2 minutes. So I think it's safe to say I did it. Climbed Mount Netro, walked along the ridge at the top, found my way back down to camp. Awesome, awesome day. Feels good to have accomplished something hard like that. There's times when I thought, man, this is dangerous, or is it worth it? And in the end, absolutely it was. So great day. Don't have to break camp today, staying at my campsite. So I'm gonna go back, drink a lot of water, and get dinner going. Back at camp. A little more beat than when I left, but satisfied. Well, right as my water was boiled and I was about to take the pot off the fire, the stick it was on broke and it dumped off and spilled. When at first we don't succeed, we try again. At least it didn't put the whole fire out. Also, you know, could have been worse. I lugged this big ass can of tomato sauce out here, so the rest I have are just the packaged ones, Alfredo and stuff like that. It's like a powder, and you can just leave some water in there and then dump it in. Well, that's Dunsky. Couple hunks of ash in there, good for the digestive system. All of it. That is a lot of food. Time for a feast. Nailed it on the pasta. Wow, pretty early. Got down off the mountain at like 6:30 today. So I might actually get to bed early for once and actually wake up early. Still have to make a good distance every day moving forward. And I have a long canyon with consistent class 2, class 3 at most people portage. I think the portage is pretty substantial, a couple clicks at least. And then another stretch on the peel where there's class 2, class 3s as well. I'm not sure if I'm going to be hitting that up tomorrow. I'm going to be slapping the spray deck on for that and hopefully running it. And there's a chance that I might not have to portage this whole trip. Now, you could argue and say that wading and dragging for 11 kilometers in Elliott Creek might as well have been a portage. It's not like it's been an easy float this whole time, but there's a chance that I might not be portaging. You will be used again tomorrow. So it almost seems surreal looking at it now that I just climbed that today. Pretty awesome. It's a ways up. Today was a pretty big day. I took the time to explore some of the surrounding country of the Hart River. This country was traveled through largely by the waterways, but people also traveled overland. There's various foot trails that connect one river to another. It wasn't only traveled on by water. People got off of the waterways. They traveled into the mountains to hunt, to, you know, explore, and that's the indigenous people who are here far before. So pretty cool to imagine not just kind of passing by on a trip, but actually having this be your permanent way of life. Looking forward to getting back on the water tomorrow, getting back into some more fishing, and seeing what the river has in store. Tomorrow might be the day where I'm going to be hitting up an intense whitewater canyon with raging class 2 and 3 rapids. After today, I have 5 days left on the Hart River and also the Peel to make it to my float plane pickup location at Canyon Creek. I think at this rate, I'm gonna be okay. As long as I keep making the distance I have to make, it's doable. It's a bit of a different trip than my Bonnet Plume or Hess River trip where you're really consumed with rapids, but the river is still very spirited, as you saw with the sweepers and going through the tight bends and the braided current, and every river is a little bit different, and that's why you gotta paddle them all.